And welcome back to another episode in the Be Successful series. My name is Brian Elam. I will be your host. And today we have a very exciting guest with us here. This man has had quite the journey in the entrepreneurship world, going into real estate, property investing, and now has an Amazon #1 best-selling book all about property investing, but using Chat GPT to take it to the next level. So I cannot wait to get into this with this man. With Dax Stanley, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Brian, thanks for having me on board. It's a pleasure to be with you. I know you've done some amazing things, and I love this podcast. So it's a great honor and a pleasure to be here and talk to you and help your budding entrepreneurs.
Perfect. I love it, man. And speaking of those budding entrepreneurs, everybody has their start, their origin story. And I'm really curious. I know my own personal journey, it didn't start right away with insurance and helping people generate generational wealth and things like this. Was getting into real estate, was that your first venture into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I started, actually, I started back at high school. The local district chose a couple of kids out of each school and put us together in a leadership camp. And at the end of that leadership camp, they said, well, we've spent 2 weeks and a lot of money on you. What are you going to give back to the community? And so a few of us had to think about it, and we liked dancing back then in 1989 it was. And that was when break dancing and hip hop and all that sort of stuff was just starting, and we liked all that sort of stuff. So we decided to do an underage disco.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, nice.
We called it Club 90, so 1990. And that was our first, where we had a team of us creating it. We got to 1,000 kids once a month, donated a whole lot of money. And one of the DJs that did that for us, which we paid $50 a month to go buy records, is now in Ibiza and in the UK under Global Underground label called DJ Papa. So it's amazing to see where people start and where they're going. It's great to help them.
Absolutely. That's super fun. You never know who in your circle is going to grow and expand into something more notable. I've noticed that too in my own life when I've connected with people. It's surprising the amount of people that are now in my circle that are doing their own entrepreneurship journey. And it's fun. It is fun to watch them grow and to help them, which is part of the reason why I started this show to begin with. So let's jump right into the beginning of the real estate investing journey. Why real estate? What caught your attention, your imagination? How did that start?
Yeah, it all started from my love of the environment, the love of, being out in the bush and being out in the backyard at my folks' place where I grew up, and having a mud pit and, all this sort of stuff, and just being outside a lot. Just really loved, property, like being in the property. And so, I did environmental science and geomatic engineering, a dual degree at Melbourne University. And geomatics is geo, which is earth, matics is measurement. So it was all about measuring the earth, engineering in that sort of space. And having that combined with my environmental science, really, I had that passion of, what can I do to combine those two technologies and those two knowledge centers into something amazing? And, real estate, large land subdivisions, and creating beautiful environments and homes for people really was a passion for me. So the first person to go for is provide myself and my family with a good place. So we started with buying an old place and doing it up. And that was just fantastic, externally, internally. And, as you call it, flipping houses. And that's where I just loved it. We made a lot of money off the first one, the second one, the third one. We were able to keep a few of them and start building that portfolio. So yeah, that passion just grew from there.
Yeah, when you get in and you see something that's starting to work and take off, and obviously you really enjoy doing what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. I'm curious, along with the development and the flipping that you've done, do you also have rental properties that are in your portfolio? Are you a landlord, and what does that situation look like?
Yeah. So as I built the portfolio, I couldn't live in all of them. So yeah, we started renting them out at a stage where people started asking me to help them buy their properties as well. And in Australia, you need a license to start doing those sorts of things. So I went and got my license, and then as soon as I got my license, I could look after other people's management of their properties. And all friends and family and people I knew started giving me all their rental properties. So not only my portfolio, I was able to manage my rental properties. I started managing all the people around me, their properties, which allowed me to start building a business, to hire people to put in place, to then look after those properties. And the best thing about that was I was able to, as I managed my property portfolio using Chat GPT, and you can read about it in the book, I started using other people's portfolios and having a look at their portfolio. Say, okay, you've got 3 properties. You can leverage these 3 properties based on your salary, and it looks like we can buy another 2 right now. And I was able to have that conversation with them and build their generational wealth to actually, allow them to exit the rat race early and keep that cash. It's been a great journey.
It sounds like it. Absolutely. So you were able to take your knowledge, your experience, and get that license to be able to manage. And then I'm thinking, usually this is how this goes. The next step of the evolution is you start teaching or training people how to do what you've done to add on another leg to the business. Is that what happened next?
Yeah. The as the staff grew, yeah, I had to start upskilling them in the knowledge that I'd learned and keep them in that space. And I think that's where Chat GPT has really helped, especially, it came out in November last year, 2022. And over Christmas and New Year's, I really wanted to dive deep into it and really figure out if it was great, because the times I've stepped in and looked at AI over the last 20 years, there's been a lot of limitations, mainly on computer power. Okay, meaning, the PC that we've got doesn't have enough power to create the calculations that an AI needs to have the output. Now, when I looked at this between Christmas and New Year's, ChatGPT had the power, had the capabilities. There was a lot of limitations though. That's really, and I've got a whole chapter in the book about that and what not to trust and how to validate it and put quality checks in to make sure that what ChatGPT is not just making up, it's real. But once I figured out that this tool is, and it's just a tool, but it's a great tool, was great to be using, I was able to create processes for my team to start using ChatGPT in the daily practices. Now, we implemented that over January, February, March. Our team doubled in productivity easily. My team of 3 turned into easily a team of 6, 7, or 8 people. They were able to do double the workload using ChatGPT as their assistant. So it's been a great journey this year.
Yep, that is super interesting because I'm, full disclosure, I am not that up on ChatGPT and what it does. I've played with it a little bit. Obviously, AI is going to revolutionize all of our industries, but I'm super curious. ChatGPT, in my understanding, is basically just a language model. So it pulls data from the internet. I believe it stops at 2021 or 2020. And then
Yep, it was September. Now it's April 22.
Okay. So it's added more information to its data set. So that's good. A little bit more, yeah. But again, this is my understanding that it's pulling from all of that data that's on the internet. It is not actually generating anything quote unquote new. So I'm curious how you're using it, if you can divulge how you're using it to generate these types of processes to push your team forward if it's just a language model using quote unquote old data.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. So you can use Chat GPT to pull data from the internet. It's quite, the computations are very high, so you can use them. And that's the best thing about real estate, is that there's so much data from, you know, federal to state to local, and you've got to know all this to make the right decisions. Now, you know, all that data can be thrown into the AI and used, and got some really good data out of it. But I think the biggest thing is, and you sort of touched on it just before, is that, you know, if you just play with it, you may get some good results, but it's really, and they call this prompt engineering. So there's people out there that, you know, you've got to learn how to prompt it really well. So if you prompt it really well, you'll get a great result out. So I'll give you, there's usually a 4-step process for a great prompt. Okay. The first one is, you've got to tell the AI who it is or what it is. Okay. So you're going to say, you are an expert analyst of property investing in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay. So you give it who it is. Then you say, the second bit is who you are. I'm a property investor who's age 35, that's looking for multi-generational wealth. I have a certain amount of debt that I need to reduce. And I also have a business that I'm looking to increase my profit margin. Please give me, and then the third bit, so that's giving it who you are. So who it is, who you are, and then context. I'm looking to invest in Phoenix, Arizona, in multi-unit dwellings to create cash flow and equity growth over you know, the next 20 years, so I can exit the rat race and hand on my generational wealth to my kids and enjoy that. That's the context. And then the fourth bit is the goal. Okay, you got to tell it what it's aiming towards. Okay, I would like you to put together a strategy based on everything above that, or even better, I want you to come up with 10 different strategies to help me understand the best way to achieve the above. Now go. Now you can see, having who it is, who you are, context, and goal creates a really powerful prompt for it to start gathering all the information from the internet, putting it all together to something that really aims to what you're looking for. So I hope that gave you a bit of an insight of what a great prompt is in my business, and probably most entrepreneurial businesses. If you structure it that way, it'll come out with some really good results.
Yeah, and you're right. Now that you mention it, I have heard of that prompt generation. There's people, even, and I'm sure you've seen them, selling like ebooks or PDFs or things like that, just all about different prompts and techniques to get the most out of Chat GPT. And that makes total sense. You have to know essentially who you want to be is the very first prompt, you know, what it is, where you want to go, and then show me how to get there. And on that, when you're asking it to generate these 10 different strategies, are you using these basically just as like idea generators for you and your team to just take a look at them, like, oh, I didn't think about this, but that actually holds some possibilities, but not this part here. That part's total crap. But so, how does that work for you?
And there is a lot of crap in there. Yeah. And look, that's a lot of the quality checking as well, because as you said, it's a generative, you know, AI. So it is guessing a lot of the time. But, you know, that prompt example, yeah, it is an idea generator. It's a brainstorming tool. It's amazing for brainstorming. And one technique I talk about in the book is called rabbit holing. So, you know, you might come up with those 10 strategies, and you might go, like you said, that one's crap. That one, oh, I like that one. We hadn't thought of that one. Then you can say, please give me more information about strategy number 4. And it'll go into more depth, and it'll have like 8 or 9 different bullet points. And then you can choose one of those bullet points and go, give me more information about that. So you're rabbit holing down, or they call it branching, down into knowledge about that section. And then you might come back up to strategy number 4 and go down another rabbit hole. And you can really learn quickly about certain things. So, you know, what we did as a team is we talked about, give us the 10 best processes to provide customer onboarding, or give us the 10 best social prompts about property investing using Chat GPT, and you can start, delving into and go, I like that one. I like that one. Give me more information about this one. And you can rabbit hole down and really nut out, okay, that's what we want. We want that one. We want that one. We want that one. And you can say, Chat GPT, please summarize, processes 3, 4, and 5 in a standard method of operation procedure template. And then it'll just map them all out. And then I can give that to a team member. They can test it out. And then we put it in our SOP, standard operating procedure.
Wow. Incredible. Incredible. The way that this is going to truly revolutionize everything in business is just outstanding. And thank you for going into more detail about that, because again, my limited understanding of what was possible has just been expanded. So, so when thinking about getting those processes, those new processes built out, tested, all of this, where or is there any limitation to what you can have it take a look at or evaluate? Like for me, for instance, I'm thinking, what about property valuation, or looking long term? If you're just looking at a swath of land and that's all that you've got in front of you, can Chat GPT, with the right prompts, can it extrapolate what the possible ROI would be, or the best ROI would be on that swath of land, be it an apartment complex, a living development, commercial property? Like how detailed can you get with this stuff?
Yeah, it's a good question. It really depends on the data that ChatGPT is being trained on. And a lot of the data for property investing, especially in Australia, and I'm guessing it's the same in America, a lot of the data about property is paid data. So you need to pay a subscription or, pay for a website to get that data, to get access to historical data, to trends, all that sort of stuff. There's about 8 different data providers in Australia. We pay for all of those. So ChatGPT can't access that unless you pay for the paid version of ChatGPT as well. Then you can start inputting your own data. So we've got a process where we go, okay, here is a block of land with a house on it. We want to put 8 townhouses or 8 units on it. We will go off to our 8 sources of data that we pay for. We download all that data from the area, the suburb, the builders, all that sort of stuff. Then we download that into ChatGPT, and we've got a process to ask it a whole lot of questions to summarize this. And it's very similar to what we would do manually in Excel, but we've just allowed ChatGPT to do it faster and easier, because we can say, here's all this data, here's the process that you already know about because we've built the process within ChatGPT. Please analyze this to give us the ROI, the feasibility, return on investment, and output it in this format in Excel. And so now it's a very quick process where it would take at least half a day to a day to analyze one project to see if it was profitable. Now it takes about less than an hour to do that. Extract the data, put it in there, tell it what it wants to do, our goal, so contact goal, and then it provides output.
Wow. Again, another thing that I didn't know, that you could actually import your own data sets if you're paying for the paid version of it. And I've got to guess that it's completely worth it, especially if you're in the real estate sector where the upside can be so high.
Yeah. And you need to look. I find that it's $20 a month US at the moment. That's invaluable for the amount of computations and data that we need to deal with in real estate. And it's helped my team. Like I said, productivity is doubled, or if not tripled. Fantastic.
Perfect. So you also do public speaking, and
Mhm.
I'm curious, what are you speaking to? Who is your audiences when you're going out there and giving these talks? Are these people that are more seasoned property investors that can really take your skill set and leverage themselves up, or are these people kind of at the beginning or the middle of the journey?
Yeah, good question. So there's a couple of stages that I've been presenting on. In the real estate domain, it's really about multi-generational wealth and how to structure their portfolios to ensure success, and providing Chat GPT and prompts and just a bit of knowledge base to get them along the road. So that's starting basically, using Chat GPT as using the rabbit hole technique, which is in the book, about learning about investing, learning about how to use Chat GPT as a learning tool and how to use it really fast. It's like if you think of Google, you Google something, well, you just Chat GPT something, and it'll train you on it very quickly. You don't have to look at websites. It puts it all together. So that's the first step. The second side of things is actually working with industry experts who are experts in real estate and how they can use ChatGPT within their business. And that's a really great thing because we've just implemented it through our business, and now I'm helping them do it with their businesses. Because if we can increase productivity, and as you know, America and Australia, our productivity Australia-wide and US-wide has been declining, over the last 20, 30 years. So this is turning that big ship around to increase productivity with the same resources. And so these big companies are coming to me asking them to talk about this because there's a stat in Australia that 79% of businesses want to ban ChatGPT in the workplace. And I thought that was insane.
Wow.
So that's
Yeah,
where
that is nuts.
it's nuts. And I've been talking about that on two levels. One is in the workplace to HR companies, the HR, human resources department, saying why they shouldn't ban it, because it's going to increase productivity, increase efficiencies, accuracies. You need to put in checks, quality assurance checks throughout. And I talk about the errors and stuff, the dangers of ChatGPT in the book. So you really want to know that chapter really well. But don't ban it. So that's the one section. And then the other section is my son is 15. He's in year 9. And they ban ChatGPT at school mainly because kids cheat with it. But I've got a way of, and I'm trained, our ChatGPT for my son is his tutor. Okay. And there's ways to create a prompt that are self-evolving and teaching him at his training level. So I've been talking to some teachers and presenting to them about how they can use it efficiently to teach children to learn faster and learn more effectively as well. So yeah, I love getting up on stage and helping. I'd love to get over to America and start talking on some of these things as well. So I think that's on the roadmap.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen. Not only for the entrepreneurship side, but on the educational side too. As soon as I saw AI and started understanding the potential of it, I immediately knew that the old way of educating people is going to die off. That it's going to be doing exactly what you're doing with your son. You're going to learn from these AIs. You're going to learn the information that you need, but you're also going to learn it in the way that you absorb it, which is so relevant right now, considering all the people that we have with ADHD, with with Down syndrome, with any other kind of mental development problem or situation. It's so important to be able to reach these kids or these people in the way that they can learn and absorb information. And the AI is going to be able to take that over so quickly. So yes, I totally believe that you are going to be speaking a lot more, not only on the entrepreneurship side, but on the education side too. That's exciting.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I love it. And look, if some of your audience are out there and they've got kids at school, I'll give you do you want me to give them a quick prompt that might help them?
Please, please.
Great, great. So this is what I did for my son. He was doing his year 9 exam, end of year exam on physics. So, we follow the 4-step process. Firstly, who are you as the AI? You are a year 9 teacher in physics that is going to give a multi-choice exam question. Who am I? I am a year 9 student that's done the whole year of year 9, and I'm studying for the end of year exam, which is a multi-choice question exam. Context. I put in every single subject and context around physics that he learned. Okay, electromagnetism, fluids, everything. Okay, every single subject that he put in there. Goal. You want to get this down. The goal is, please present me with a multi-choice question on each of these subjects, one at a time, at my level, year 9 level. If I get it wrong, tell me the right answer, and then the next question, downgrade it so that I can have a chance to answer it correctly. Okay. But if I get it right, upgrade it and make the next question a bit harder. Now, please give me the first question. Now, that prompt is almost like a computer calculation that my son, who's a TikTok fan, they're all like 5-second, span of attention. He sat there for a whole hour, because if he got it wrong, gave him the answer, gave him an easier question. If he got it right, got harder, easier, harder, easier. And so he was fully engaged, fully learning as he was studying, like doing this multi-choice exam. It was brilliant. I hope that helps.
It certainly does. It almost sounds like using it in this way kind of gamifies learning too, because it's you don't it's like, okay, I missed that one, so the next one's going to be easier. Nailed that one. Okay, here it comes. Here comes the harder one. So it keeps that anticipation going.
Yeah. And the kids these days with the 5-second attention span, he was there for an hour. He's like, Dad, I did 63 right. It's like, wow, okay, this thing works.
That's beautiful. Beautiful proof of concept right there. And I know it makes parents nervous to think about something like this because it's new, it's different, but you can just think of it as it's another way for them to interface with an iPad or something, or a computer, which they're already doing a lot of. I don't know how many hours kids are spending on apps and phones and everything these days, but it's got to be just a ton. So what if they could combine that with actually learning that they can absorb?
You're right. And look, the biggest thing that I worry, and for any parent out there, this is the sort of message I do say on stage around this sort of stuff, and I say to teachers, is that even now when I'm hiring staff, if I've got 2 people that are of the same degrees and the same experience, and one has Chat GPT experience and provides me with some amazing prompts and I can see that they've used it, and one that's not used Chat GPT, I know which one I'm hiring. So my concern for students is, as they leave and start going into the workforce, if they're not Chat GPT or if they're not AI enabled, they're competing against people that are 2 to 3 times more productive than they are. And that's scary that they're not going to teach that at school, because we want them to be the best at their game to get the best job that they want, or their best entrepreneurial business, or having the tools to do their passion and their joy so that they can have that generational wealth and, and live the life they want.
Yep. Yet another reason to take a good hard look at homeschooling your kids, because just like Dax said, he, as an entrepreneur, as someone that hires people, that stimulates the economy and supports people's families, if he has that choice between somebody that is AI enabled versus someone who was sheltered from it, wasn't allowed to have access to it at school or home, the person that didn't get it at school or home is not getting hired. That is real. That's where business is going. It's like the old days where you had to choose between someone who just graduated high school and just graduated college. People were going for the college graduate. Well, now it is shifting away from that. So
it's even the same when I remember when we had started computers. If you didn't know WordPress or Word Word documents, the Word
right, Microsoft Word.
Microsoft Word or whatever it was before Microsoft Word.
I
And
don't even know.
if you didn't know email, in 97, I remember, there was people didn't even understand what email was or didn't know. And as you just don't get it. And if somebody couldn't touch type compared to people that could, this is sort of another tool that we use to enhance, because if you can touch type a lot faster and you're a secretary, you'd get the job over somebody who could touch type less. And this is just now another tool that we learn, we integrate, know the risks. You really need to know the risks and use it efficiently for, results.
Yeah, absolutely. And the context or the framing that you outlined there with how to structure a prompt, I think is going to help a lot of people get their minds around it, because I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of Google just docs and whatever that are out there about teaching people how to do it, giving different prompts. But to be able to hear someone that's actually used it and generated these kind of results, just really break it down so that a ninth grader could understand it, that is exactly what we need. Because in business, if you simplify it, it will sell. And the same goes for adopting things into our lives. The simpler you can make it, the easier you can make it, the more people are going to adopt it.
So Brian, I guess one question back to you is, where do you see, after this, you've learned a lot more about Chat GPT. Where do you see you're going to dive into it and have a bit of a exploration? What are you thinking now for you?
For me, I am thinking about probably more on the marketing perspective, how to get in front of the right kind of people that I can help, that have that longer term vision. Because again, I'm all about creating that generational wealth, helping families solidify and have FU money. Like that just fires me up. And so to be able to get in front of those people that have that same focus, that same vision, that I believe is where I could really start leveraging it to create posts, create prompts, and maybe even create a course to take people through, so that they truly start to understand how you can leverage the certain aspects of life insurance in order to make these things happen for you and your family. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking into that now.
Brilliant. I love that. Yeah. And if you need any help, definitely happy to help, Brian. I think that's a really good area to start delving into. And I think you'll get some really good results.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you being willing to support me in this in case I forget or need a little tweaking on something. So that is awesome. Very much appreciated. So thinking about the generational wealth that we're all passionate about here, I was curious, when it comes to working with people to start or grow their portfolio in order to really get that journey solidified, that journey to generational wealth, what do you view as the most important foundational point of real estate, the real estate world, when it comes to getting that foundation started? Like, what is that? What does somebody need?
Okay, so a couple of things when I first start talking to clients and understanding where they're at and what they're trying to achieve, the biggest thing that I find, over the last, 10, 15 years of doing this, the people that succeed, it really comes down to clarity and mindset. If they've got the clarity of where they want to be and the mindset that they know they can get there, even though they don't know how, they succeed a lot faster. The ones that I find that don't have an idea, have a couple of ideas and then they swap and change and think, you know, oh, there's a new shiny thing, and they dive into that, and then, oh, there's another one. You know, it might have been, you know, Bitcoin, and then it might be, you know, AI, and, you know, whatever's next. You know, and it's same with real estate. They might go multi-unit developments. They might do house and land. They might do, you know, flipping. But the ones that know, okay, in 20 years' time, I want to be living off this amount of income, and I want to be doing this sort of thing, passive income, and just want to go on holidays and do this, this, and this is how much cash flow I need. And these are and we help them map out how many properties and what sort of properties to get there. And then they know what the next property is, and they go, and we go and find it for them, and they start on that journey. Those ones, they just seem, you know, that happens faster for them. It's amazing. So clarity of goals and mindset are the first key things that I look for in a client to take on, because we don't take on everyone that wants to get there, because if they don't have the clarity and they don't have the mindset, you know, it's something that we can build up. But I think the ones that have already got it are the great ones to work with, because it's just success after success after success, and we love helping them do that.
Of course, momentum breeds more momentum.
Yeah,
absolutely. When you just said that not everyone is your client, not everyone's the right fit for you, which is so important to realize in the entrepreneurship space, that you cannot serve everyone or you will end up serving no one. So speaking of the people that are not quite ready for you, maybe they're still hunting and pecking at the shiny objects. Maybe they haven't figured out exactly where their passion lies within that real estate world. Where would you suggest that they go in order to start really learning and understanding themselves and what they want to build? Do you suggest getting hooked up with another developer or another person in real estate to kind of mentor them, shadow them? Should they just go and try it to see if they like it? What is your view on that?
Yeah, it depends on what stage they're at. I would say if they need more knowledge and more understanding, and really just, you know, they're very fearful and not understanding it, I think, you know, my book's a great start. You know, real estate investing with Chat GPT, you know, goes through, the first chapter is just about real estate investing, you know, and it's global. It's not specific of Australia or the US. The next one is, what is Chat GPT? Third chapter is combining the two. Fourth one's about all the prompts and stuff to build your portfolio. So we map our clients to our process, which is the 5 Ps of property investing. So planning, purpose, preparing, purchasing, and then prospering. So at each stage, they can learn those stages. And I'd say if they went through the book and they grasped all the context, and they started using the prompts and things like that, they would have a 20-year map of where they want to achieve, what they want to achieve. They may even know the asset classes they're looking for. And really, they could almost do it themselves, or if they're time poor and they love to do their own passion and property is just something that's going to get them to that end result, they can give us a call and we can actually help them out going from there. So I would say start with the book, start with your knowledge upskilling, using the rabbit hole technique that we talked about to upskill on all the terminologies. You can even, you know, land contracts or purchasing contracts, you can actually input those into Chat GPT and analyze it through chat and ask it, say, you are an expert property lawyer in Phoenix, Arizona. I am looking to buy a property here. Context, this, I'm going to feed you the contract of sale for this property. This is, I want to do a renovation on it. This is the purchase price, blah, 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 blah. And then you can say, and this is one of the prompts in the book, you can say, I'd like to role play negotiation techniques with you. You are the real estate agent. I am the purchaser. I want you to start off by negotiating. I want to get a better price. You want to get a higher price. I want to get a lower price. And at each time, tell me how I should respond to you, so I can learn a negotiation technique and we can role play this before I pick up the phone and talk to the real estate agent. Can you imagine? My staff use this and we're killing it in the market. Like these real estate agents are getting destroyed because we're using negotiation tactics on the internet, role playing, and then ringing them up and running the same property and just, you know, getting them at great prices. So, you know, there's some really good nuggets in the book. And even if you don't want to read the book and you join us and join our company, my team feeds you these prompts anyway. So, you know, our teams are negotiating for you. You can see, you can actually, in Chat GPT, you can send that whole prompt to clients. So we can do the whole analysis, send it to them, and they can read through the Chat GPT prompt about their property and then start asking more questions. So, you know, as you can see, I'm quite passionate about it. I love it. And it's just evolving faster than I can even do. There's more out there that came out 2 weeks ago that I'm just loving. I can't tell you too much about it, but to give you a bit, we're producing our own GPT using Chat GPT just for property investing.
Oh, beautiful. Yep.
Mm.
Definitely niche down, man. Make it specific. The more specific, the better. I love that. Man, and even if, like you said, you're not in real estate, even if you're in sales, good God, cold calling, the ability to get on the phone, get on the quote unquote phone with the Chat GPT and have that banter back and forth, be able to have it tell you how to handle its objections. That is, good God, that is amazing. That is gold. For somebody that has done a lot of cold calling, I wish I would have had that. Dax, I'm mind blown by everything we've been able to cover here today. I cannot believe that it's been almost an hour. Tell people where they can find you, like if they are in the real estate property development world, be it in Australia or in the US, where can they get hooked up with you to get into your world?
Yep. Look, the easiest place to go is my website, Dax, D-A-X, Delta Alpha X-ray.com.au. That's the best place to go. You can go on Amazon, look up my name, Dax Stanley, and buy the book. It's still 99 cents. I'm not making any money from it. It's just really to help everyone. It's a combination of all my work. And I really want to get it out there and help as many people as I can. But go to my website, dax.com.au. There's a whole lot of white papers. There's one on multi-generational wealth. So that, you know, Brian, I know we've talked about that, and that's really passionate about for both of us and our audiences. Yeah, have a look. You can book me for speaking gigs or on podcasts there. There's a couple, Brian's podcast will appear on that once we launch this one as well. And yeah, that's the source of everything about Dax. So I look forward, you know, any questions, you can get me on all the socials as well. You can search me on LinkedIn mainly. That's where I focus most of my attention. But all the others are on there as well. And all the links are on dax.com.au.
Okay, perfect. Well, guys, link obviously in the show notes for his websites. You can just click, go and check out everything Dax Stanley. Man, this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story, your wisdom, your prompts, everything with us. I am truly just honored to have you on. Thank you so much.
Brian, it was an absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed this conversation. You know, you're doing a great thing for budding entrepreneurs who are looking to grow. You know, this, you know, I think the book or the prompts that we've given here has been really great. I love your style. You know, once I get my podcast out, I love you're on. And, you know, keep doing the great work, man. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you get your podcast going, let me know. I'll jump on there for sure. That would be amazing. So guys, again, Dax Stanley, dax.com.au. Go check him out. Get the book. It's only 99 cents. Come on. Just for the prompts alone, you got to do it. So again, thank you so much, Dax, and peace. We will see you in the next one.